In the concealed recesses of Dublin, the family, a notorious syndicate, has quietly erected an empire, asserting dominance over Ireland's illicit drug trade with an iron grip. While the Kinahan cartel attracted attention and infamy, the family seized the moment to ascend as the nation's foremost criminal entity. Bolstered by connections to Eastern European traffickers and an unquenchable thirst for riches, they now preside over a sprawling multi-million euro enterprise. Join us as we penetrate the core of this clandestine criminal syndicate, unraveling the remarkable narrative behind the family's swift ascent to supremacy. In bygone days, the Kinahan cartel held sway over Ireland's narcotics market, yet their global aspirations and recent law enforcement crackdowns eroded their local influence. Meanwhile, the family quietly consolidated power, capitalizing on the turmoil following the Kinahan-Hutch feud. With 18 casualties and over 80 gang members incarcerated, the feud further solidified the family's grip. Thriving amidst the shadows, they positioned themselves as Ireland's premier suppliers of heroin, forging alliances with Eastern European counterparts to ensure a continuous influx of illicit substances. Their origins diverge markedly from those of the Kinahans, as the family opts to operate clandestinely, steering clear of the limelight. While their expertise lies in heroin, they've diversified into cocaine, ketamine, and MDMA markets, striving to evade the lethal facets of the drug trade. Under the calculated leadership of Brian Grendon, a seasoned and notorious criminal mastermind, they glean lessons from past missteps, deeming media security, violence, and the turf wars detrimental to their enterprise. Despite suspicions surrounding the murder of Gary Kerry, the family shuns overt conflict, channeling their energies singularly into the pursuit of wealth. Ryan Grendon and his elder brother Philip, originating from the fermenting core of West Dublin, constitute the nucleus of this criminal syndicate, bolstered by a dozen steadfast associates scattered across the city. Over the span of 2 decades, they've meticulously constructed their empire. Brian, a seasoned high-level criminal endowed with a keen business acumen, maintains a sober mindset, abstaining from drug use, while his sibling Philip grapples with inner turmoil, plagued by paranoia and disorder. Exploiting the vulnerabilities of drug addicts, the family orchestrates a system of supplying free cocaine and heroin to maintain control. This network of addicts serves as a protective shield, absorbing the brunt of charges during police searches while the gang members accumulate wealth. Despite numerous encounters with law enforcement, their efforts to dismantle the family's operations have proven futile. Ryan Grendon is renowned for his hands-off approach, reputed to possess an acute surveillance instinct. Reports indicate that his gang employs dozens of disposable cell phones weekly, continuously replacing them to avoid detection. Members adhere strictly to a code of silence, refraining from discussing criminal activities while driving and executing counter-surveillance measures to thwart law enforcement efforts. In 2001, Brian Grendon, then 25 years old, first drew attention when apprehended in possession of nearly €2 million worth of heroin, resulting in a lengthy prison sentence. Upon release, he wasted no time in re-establishing his criminal enterprises, ascending to become the nation's foremost heroin dealer. Conversely, his brother Philip encountered trouble years later in Spain in 2014. While lodged in a Valencia hotel with 2 suitcases containing €3.8 million worth of cocaine, paranoia consumed him upon hearing suspicious noises. Convinced of an imminent robbery by rivals, he flung one suitcase out the window. In his subsequent attempt to retrieve it, he inadvertently locked himself out, ultimately apprehended by police holding the suitcase full of cocaine. Subsequently sentenced to 7 years in prison for drug trafficking, Philip's misstep underscored the risks inherent in the family's illicit ventures. Law enforcement agencies intensified efforts to dismantle the family's empire, conducting various raids resulting in the seizure of substantial quantities of drugs, cash, luxury items, and high-end vehicles. Notable arrests, including that of Darren Hoey, the gang's chief financial operator, exposed the vast sums of illicit funds circulating within their operation. Despite these setbacks, the family persisted in expanding their network, forging connections with Eastern European suppliers and laundering profits through the second-hand car industry. In 2020, law enforcement achieved a significant breakthrough when they uncovered an operation linked to the family, seizing a staggering €4 million worth of drug money. Darren Hoey, the gang's financial mastermind, was apprehended and raids were conducted on his residence and a cottage. Investigators made a startling discovery of a hidden compartment in Hoey's Audi, designed for transporting large sums of cash. This seizure marked the largest in the state's history and underscored the magnitude of the family's illicit activities. Subsequent investigations unveiled that the gang had been involved in an astounding €17 million worth of drug transactions within just 3 months. Recent revelations indicate a potential dent in their money laundering operations, with estimates suggesting they were funneling up to €120 million of dirty cash out of Ireland annually, equating to an astonishing €10 million each month. These staggering figures laid bare the vast scale of their drug profits. However, the notorious gang encountered challenges in drug trafficking in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Criminal Assets Bureau and the Organised Crime Bureau are now resolute in bringing an end to their reign, leveraging the chaos of Brexit and the pandemic, which disrupted transport across all sectors, including drugs and money laundering. Despite their efforts to distance themselves from gangland feuds and violence, suspicions arose surrounding the family's alleged involvement in the murder of Gary Carey in July 2020. Carey, a convicted drug dealer, fell victim to a brazen ambush outside the Hilton Hotel, succumbing to severe injuries weeks later. Garda suspected that Carey's murder stemmed from his attempts to encroach on the family's operations, particularly those associated with D.D. O'Driscoll, a convicted criminal and associate. The family's potential involvement in this high-profile hit shed light on the lengths they would go to protect their empire. The future of the family's gang's illicit activities remains uncertain as law enforcement agencies intensify efforts to silence their operations. Only time will reveal whether they will be brought to justice. That concludes today's discourse. We invite you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this discussion engaging, please consider subscribing to our channel for more intriguing stories. Until next time, stay vigilant and stay safe.